And shout, it's time for What's Trending.
Getting a quarterback was priority number one, and BYU did that.
Ahead to Robinson.
This transfer portal is super complicated. There's so many different factors that come into play. It's free agency every year.
Indeed it is. What's Trending is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. We are in a new era of collegiate athletics where the transfer portal is a much bigger deal in the composition of a team. So, Shep, let's dive into that head first. What's the risk reward of leaning too much on the portal or recruiting kids out of high school?
In a perfect world, you want a balance of both. And quite frankly, I think that's ultimately where this falls out. Eventually, you find that happy medium. But right now, when the transfer portal, it's not necessarily so new because it's been around now for a couple of years, but it's still new enough that it's sort of the quick fix. And when you have holes to plug, that's kind of where you go, because you obviously have players that, in a perfect world, have already proven their worth in terms of what they add to a team. So in a perfect world, you want both. I still believe all programs, whether it's football, basketball, doesn't matter the sport, women's soccer, baseball, softball, you still have to have a core group of players that are probably homegrown. You've got to have that core that kind of moves with you. You can weave in and out transfer portal players depending on need, depending on the year. But you still have to have a core group of players that are there. And that comes from getting them out of high school and recruiting them and bringing them into the program and hopefully having them for 2, 3, 4 years into your program. Now, that doesn't always work. But look, we live in an era where, you have the opportunity to go get proven talent. And when you know you have a need at a certain position, that's kind of the way it's going. And it's not going to go away. It's not going to slow down. It's not going to something that's like a fad right now. This is what college athletics is now. So whether you like it or you don't, it's here to stay.
And the 1 year or the one transfer, no penalty rule has certainly changed that too. When you had to sit out, you weren't as quick to go get somebody from another school. The portal certainly is a new place where you can gather and centralize, as opposed to, it was weird before. Michael Wadsworth from Hawaii was weird, where coaches prevent someone from transferring in conference to certain teams, blah, blah, blah. The risk is if you miss, you're in trouble.
Yes.
Unfortunately, men's hoops had that this year. It wasn't the same class as Barcelo, Harms, Averett type stuff of Jake Toolson and Yoli Childs coming back type of stuff. BYU was really successful in men's hoops the first couple of years. Last 2 years, not as much, have not made the NCAA tournament, did not sniff the NCAA tournament. Won, 3 games in the NIT last year. It wasn't a bad year, per se. If those players are seniors, those are one and dones. They're sort of an investment level that if you want them around a while, it's not there. But if you want, like, Keaton Slovis for 1 year, you get them. If you want Rudy Williams for 1 year, you get them. How much development happens, with certain transfers versus, say, a kid out of high school? It can be the same, but if it's a one-and-done guy, you're coming in to do a certain job, right? It's hard to get a longer-term investment sometimes out of the portal when maybe it's just a year or two guy as opposed to a guy you have for longer. Now, in the case of like Jackson Robinson, you can get him for 3 years, which is great. The reward is, like I mentioned, 2021 hoops. You're a 6 seed at large in the NCAA tournament because you brought in Matt Harms and Brandon Averett, and now Alex Barcelo is the starter after a year at BYU. It can work. But you were surrounded by kids out of high school, Caleb Lohner, Trevin Nell, Connor Harding, another transfer, Spencer Johnson, but hadn't really played much. So that balance matters. How much do I care about how much BYU uses the portal? I think a balance of high school kids, and then in the case of BYU, what does everyone say is BYU's advantage? The missions, right? Are they not an advantage for BYU? I think we agree that they are in the physical and emotional development of certain individuals that later pays dividends when times get hard, and the fact that they might be a 20-year-old freshman and 21-year-old sophomore. I think it helps when Dallin Hall is going through a hard thing, and it's like, well, I've been on a mission. Like, I can withstand this a little better emotionally. Yeah. I think that is an advantage. And BYU's advantage is there are certain kids that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that want to be here. You don't have to recruit them as hard. You certainly have to recruit them, and you can't assume they just want to come. But they want to be here in some instances. I would say in more instances than not, right? BYU needs that as the core. But I understand from a coaching staff perspective, Shep, that there's no guarantee that I am around 3 or 4 years, right, or even 2 years from now. It is about win now. So thus, the transfer portal is the answer in many instances. But let's walk through a couple of teams on campus, like you mentioned, and how they might be different from each other. Football uses the portal more than you think. Okay, we kind of talk about basketball with the portal a lot.
Well, and the difference is the margin for error is a lot thinner on basketball, sure, because as was brought up, you have fewer players.
Yes. And
so on football, if you miss on a transfer, it can be covered up a little bit more because you have such a large roster.
Yes.
So it really is sort of apples and oranges when you compare the transfer portal in football to the transfer portal in basketball.
Now, if we're talking total roster size, as opposed to like two deep or main
Correct.
Contributors, 35% of men's hoops the last 2 years have been transfers. I'm not talking that year. I'm talking total, right, at any point came in as a transfer. In football, as of this moment, 21% of the roster are transfers, 25 of the 119. Certainly, you don't have 119. But you look at notables that have come in this year. Keaton Slovis, Eddie Heckard, Aiden Robbins, Jackson Cravens, Isaiah Banya. BYU's best player on the team is Kingsley Suamati. He is a transfer from Oregon, right? And then Paul Maile and Waylon Lapuahu, Ian Fitzgerald, Wyatt Daw. You have to have the transfer portal to be successful in 2023. You really do. Our conversation resides around what is too much.
Okay, let's just say top 5. Let's say your top 5 based off of the graphic that we just showed.
Yeah. I'm hoping
the top 5 players
on BYU's football team.
On BYU's football team that you would consider maybe the 5 best players.
The hope is that...
Are they all transfers?
No. I would hope that Cody Epps and/or Isaac Rex is also in that mix.
Okay, but
I would hope one of those
if the majority
receivers.
of them are transfers, does that matter? Because to me, ultimately, look, they're BYU players.
Yes, they all become BYU players when they get here.
You want the balance. You want to have the guys that you recruit out of high school and that are your foundation that are here, and you also want to bring in these high-level talents that can come in and fill spots.
They're also the new shiny toy.
But does it matter to you? If the end result is BYU players are winning games, does it matter to fans if they're transfers or homegrown talent?
It does if it's at the cost of the long term.
Okay.
What do I mean by that is, sure, you can bring in a bunch of dudes and win now. Absolutely. And that's what every coaching staff's agenda is. It's like a president of the United States. They don't care about the next term. They care about getting in office for this term. Then it's the next one, right? Everyone has an agenda. And the agenda of BYU Athletics is win. But my concern specifically with men's hoops is that in 3 or 4 years, we may look back and go, why didn't they sign anyone in 2023 out of high school? I understand why they don't, but I am concerned about, well, where's the next Dallin Hall? Where is the next Trevin Nell? And so on and so forth. If you're too into the portal and not enough into what BYU's advantage is, I fear that in the long term there may be ramifications that are tough where it's like, oh, crap, we're just year to year now, and we just have to go to the portal.
But I think we're already there. And
in men's basketball, I feel like the reliance is too heavy.
I feel like that's just college athletics anymore, that it is year to year.
I get you, but is every team attached to a church who has kids who want to go to said school?
No.
Mm-mm. Like, Notre Dame is a big enough brand where they don't feel like, hey, we need a ton of Catholic kids. You know what I mean? They can get whoever, wherever, from whatever walk of life. BYU is more that direction, and I think it's great. I just think from a competitive standpoint, the makeup of BYU teams certainly need a certain amount of the kids that you have access to already. And in men's basketball and football, you may have to pay these guys a certain amount. At some point, you may have to even pay the kids who are members of the church a certain amount. But can it exist, with majority transfer portal? And win and sustain it? That is the question. I fear that it may not be as sustainable as we hope because now you're in the same predicament in Kentucky and Duke, not in getting 5 stars, but in it's roster turnover every year. And what's the sustainability of being too portal heavy? I don't know if there's a number for that. What if BYU didn't have Dallin Hall this year? What if they didn't have Richard Harwood? What if they had not recruited Foose out of high school? You certainly have a role for those guys. Now, football is interesting. Do you let someone else show you that a player's good and then you bring them in? Like, what we're not talking about is that Connor Pay is a good player on BYU's team out of high school. There's a certain amount of those dudes that you need. Let's look at, so we've addressed men's hoops and football a bit. Let's look at, say, women's soccer. Brecken Mozingo is the best player on the team. She is a transfer.
UCLA.
Grace Johnson came from Mississippi. Ellie Walbrook just came from UCLA.
Yep.
But that's it. The rest are homegrown. Women's soccer does it without needing a bunch of stars from the portal. A couple, sure. Women's volleyball, mostly liberos the last couple of years. The exception's Kenzie Kerber for 1 year that made BYU way better. Mostly homegrown, and they are a top 15 program. Women's basketball, Lauren Gustin was a transfer. In fact, two-time transfer from Idaho and Salt Lake Community College. Jenna Asai coming over from Oregon, and they have a really nice recruiting class coming in. I wonder if it's mostly football and men's basketball in this conversation where it's more competitive and harder to get the sort of I want to be at BYU from little kid on type of athlete? Is that what we're talking about now?
I think that's what we're seeing, that the majority of the transfer portal in terms of in part of our conversation, the number of transfers, we're basically talking about football and basketball. What the other programs on campus have done, they just haven't needed it. It's not.
Why not?
It's a great question.
In that sports, you don't need it. Is it the sort of? Because I would argue that in women's volleyball and women's soccer, BYU is more competitive nationally than they are in football and men's basketball at this point.
Oh, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And men's volleyball. The pool is smaller of available players at that level, but it is unique. I wonder why. I've always wondered if BYU got every kid that wanted to be at BYU, and how competitive would they be nationally? I feel like BYU would be very competitive.
Look, at the end of the day, I think the part that we're talking about here is when we talk about the guys that you recruit, there's a certain connection that whether you followed them in high school or not, by the time they're on the radar of your school, you're following the recruitment of them. And then on signing day, and then if they go on a mission, when they come back, you're sort of emotionally invested in some of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's that part of it that I think some fans don't want to lose. Because they have a guy come in and you don't really know a whole lot about it. You may know him by his name because of something he's done somewhere else, but they don't want to lose that connection. And that's why I think it's the teams that can find a balance with it, I think, are going to be in really good shape. But at the end of the day, it's about winning football games. It's about winning basketball games.
100%.
And if guys can come in, if programs can turn the transfer portal into win after win after win, and like we hit on that guy and we hit on this guy, if they come in and help the programs win, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
But if you can hit more than you miss, then people aren't going to care where the players come from. They just want the results.
And I agree with you. In the long term, I wonder how sustainable being too transfer portal heavy will be at a place like BYU where you have a built-in advantage. I don't know the answer, but it's a conversation we're having because April 4th.